I'm S.Bahary, and I'm speaking from the editing room. My first major commission was Always Faithful. That is our country's first war dog monument, officially known as such, located at the U.S. War Dog Cemetery for the Marine Corps in Guam. It was unveiled at the Pentagon, and since then I've created so many monuments honoring not just our soldiers and our brave soldiers and their animals, but also our law enforcement animals. And it's been my honor, because I'm so inspired by what they do for the rest of us, that I hope to do justice to their sacrifice and their service with my work. Well, obviously I've always loved dogs, and I always heard about the story of Stubby, and I thought it would be just incredible to be able to sculpt Stubby. And so I was thrilled when the family commissioned me to sculpt Stubby, and that was really a beautiful experience for me, because not only was I typically trying to capture the spirit and soul of this amazing dog, but I was trying to make it very true to and accurate for historical reference in terms of the jacket that he wore. And so the story of Stubby is that a Boston Terrier mix wandered onto the grounds of Yale University campus 100 years ago to where the soldiers were in training, and sort of befriended the soldiers who were in training. And they had a beautiful connection, and eventually Robert Conroy had sort of gotten a very fond affection to Stubby, and they were sort of inseparable. And when it came time to ship off to France and ship off for World War I, he smuggled Stubby in his jacket and got him on the ship. So, we knew that Stubby had been trained many tricks, but his time really came when he was on the ship, and the commander discovered him and wanted to know why Stubby was on the ship. And at that point, thankfully, Stubby did one of his special tricks, which was that he got up on his haunches and raised his paw and into a salute. And so that saved him. Once they saw that, they said, Stubby's in, okay, he can come along. And then once he was actually on the battlefield, he performed amazing services. He, with his keen, acute hearing senses, he was able to pick up the sound of artillery shells coming in, and he could also detect the odor of the mustard gas that was being sent over by the enemy. And in doing that, he was able to prevent loss of life, because they had time to wear their gas masks. And not only that, but what's so touching is that when soldiers were injured in no man's land between, the two sides, he would go over to their side and keep them company until help came. Stubby served on 17 battlefields. He is attributed for saving the town in France of Château-Thierry. And so they were so happy in this town of Château-Thierry that Stubby had helped save them, that the women of the town made him a special chamois jacket that I have him wearing in the sculpture. And when he came back home after suffering his own injuries and surviving and coming back home, he became a true hero. He met 3 presidents, he was in parades, and he became a symbol of hope. And so Stubby represents a great deal, and he's also in the Smithsonian Institute. Stubby is our country's first official service dog. I've done a lot of monuments to our war animals around the world, but the one I'd like to speak about right now is the one in Pozières, France, especially having just sculpted Stubby, who served in World War I. In July, I was commissioned by the Australian War Animals Memorial Organization to create both a horse sculpture to all the Australian animals who served and died in World War I, but also a dog head who represents all animals on all sides who died in World War I. And these 2 animals collectively represent 9 million animals who died in World War I on the Western Front. And I think it's time for us now to do more of that in our own country. And so I am proposing our country's first National Service Animals Monument to honor all our war dogs, our law enforcement dogs, our search and rescue animals, not just dogs, horses help us as well, and to honor all the handlers who work tirelessly at their side and do so much for the rest of us. And then, of course, very importantly, to honor all the assistance animals who help our citizens every day, whether they're guide dog pairs or assisting veterans or everyday people or children in the numerous ways they do that. It's time now, and so I've proposed a monument to be either in San Francisco or in Washington, D.C., preferably both in that area. And also, my sculptures are located at many different veterinary schools around the United States, in national museums both in the United States and abroad, and in military bases and other public places. Lastly, I want to share that I'm wearing the purple poppy pin, and I've been asked to bring the purple poppy to the United States by the Australian War Animals Memorial Organization. And this purple poppy represents all animals who have served in wars in other countries, but we don't have that here. So I want to bring it here, and here I wanted to represent all our service animals. And so that's what that is all about.